Al Schwarber,
Yes,
productive,
very much
bringing that
so.
leadership vibe. And here at Team Toyota, you guys have that teamwork feel, and a great day to come on down and get yourself situated in a brand new Toyota.
It sure
And
is.
Tom, you are a part of the WBCB family, not just part of the Toyota team for
Right,
Team
right.
Toyota,
Two teams.
but part of our family on BCB with the Behind the Badge show, and now you're transitioning to a brand new show on
Yes.
WBCB. You're going to be joined by Bucks County DA Jennifer Shorn, and that's exciting. A lot of great information going to be coming your way on BCB and what it's called the Leadership Show.
Visions of leadership.
Visions of Leadership.
We're going to bring that transparently out to our listenership out there, and there's a great listenership, and we want them to understand how much it goes behind the leadership with Jennifer Shorn,
Yeah.
the district attorney. It's a big county up here.
I mean, kind of goes along with the work you did with Behind the Badge,
Yes,
where you
very much so.
highlight the work of law enforcement
Yes.
and those in our community keeping us safe. And looking forward to that. When does that show start? Visions of Leadership.
Visions of leadership
coming to BCB.
WBCB, and that's April 23rd on a Wednesday at 10 a.m. And we're going to have a great time. Jennifer, whether she can or cannot make it to the studio, obviously we can pipe her right in, and
Right.
I'm extremely excited. I was with Jennifer Monday for our Bucks County Tour of Honor trip, which Team Toyota so proudly sponsors, along with Parks Casino. Great trip. 300 military veterans down, escorted completely down 95 to all of the war memorials in Washington, D.C. What a great day, even though the weather didn't cooperate.
Well, too bad you didn't have better weather, but that is a really awesome tradition. And I'm imagining, since you guys are going to be in studio, maybe more ability to get guests to just call in. They don't actually have to be physically on site like you had at Behind the Badge. And I thought you still were able to get some important voices and good
Sure.
information out there.
Sure.
But this may make things a little bit easier and allow you to get more guests more readily.
My goodness, you nailed it. You nailed it, Chris. With the opportunity to be able to come in with the lines that we have,
Right.
people can conveniently, our leaders, these leadership roles that they have throughout the county, can call in conveniently, and we can conduct some great shows at WBCB.
Well, we're looking forward to that Visions of Leadership. We're talking Phillies baseball today. This
Yes.
is the Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. I'm in for John Brazier. This is also Record Store Day today. So
is it really?
I will
Okay.
put in a plug for my new show on WBCB from 11 to noon every weekday morning. We're playing album sides, bringing that show back, and that seems applicable on Record Store Day today.
goodness, yes.
All these record stores doing special promotions and stuff like that. But we're talking about the Philadelphia Phillies. You're watching the show live at WBCBsports.com, or you can search WBCB Sports on YouTube and listening live at 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, your station in Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties. And kind of interesting, they say the baseball season is a marathon and not a sprint, but I don't know if you've seen these high-level marathon runners, but basically they're sprinting the whole time they're running.
My goodness, I get out of breath watching them.
No question. I've seen this simulator that they break out in some locales where it's an oversized treadmill, and they set this treadmill to be at top marathon runner pace.
Really?
And invite people to get on there and see how long they can stay on the treadmill without slipping up, and everybody trips up and slips up after about a half a minute because it's a sick pace to be going that fast.
I'll bet it is.
That's kind of what you need for Major League Baseball, though. It is a marathon. You got 162 games, but you got to go all out every single time you take the field. It's hard to keep those two things balanced,
That's
where
true.
you got the marathon, all those games you have to play, but you got to win this afternoon. This is a big game for the Phillies today to bounce back.
Oh, my God. We want to take the series. That's the key, I believe,
Right.
Chris, as you would, I'm sure, agree. The strategy is to take as many series trips as possible. And it was disheartening. I was not happy last night.
Well, so far after the first few series, the Phillies do have some bright things to look at. Their pitchers, second most strikeouts by pitchers in Major League Baseball. The Phillies have that stat category with 100 Ks
Wow.
so far this season, and their starters have the 6th best ERA in baseball right now. That's pretty good. So
that's a testament to their ability and what they can bring for the rest of the season.
yeah,
right?
and getting it done on the mound, but still in the early going. So
Yeah.
you got to make sure that you can copy that success over and over and over again. And today, Christopher Sanchez on the mound for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Sure.
He's been another one of those bright spots for this team.
He has. He looks great, especially preseason. He's been working out well, and all of his stuff, all of the throws, the four-seamer, the fastball, everything looks good with him. It really does.
He is hitting all of his pitches.
Absolutely.
And we are going to be leading you right up to the Phillies pregame on WBCB with our Baseball Insider Show, joined by Tom Mellon. Mickey Morandini will be with us a little bit later on. And typically this is where we break down the week in Phillies baseball, the week that was. We'll start on Sunday because our last Baseball Insider Show was before the Sunday game where you saw the Casti home run. Castellanos with the grand slam in that game. And I thought, oh, this is good. But up against the Dodgers, I still was feeling a little nervous because their lineup is so potent.
I shared the same trepidation there for a while. But, boy, it really came along real well, especially the way he smacked that ball. With a high fastball, he just came right around and met it eloquently, right into the stands.
Oh, yeah, a thing of beauty, that grand slam from Castellanos. That was on Sunday as we welcome Mickey Morandini into the show.
What's
up, Mickey? How you doing?
Good to see you, Mick.
I'm good now that I'm here.
Always good to have you with us. We're breaking down this week of Phillies baseball. 2 wins, 3 losses, and coming off of a couple of losses. You know, you have a game like last night, only can get 3 hits going. What do? You just tip the tip of the cap to the pitcher, or were you seeing things where like there was a team approach that was off in some way?
Well, early on their approach has been pretty good. Last few games, not so much. I mean, Castellanos the other day, 5 strikeouts. He's going out of the zone. But this is a team that's going to have these stretches. When you rely on the home run, you're going to have stretches where you're not scoring runs, because if you can't manufacture runs, you're going to struggle. So I'm not concerned because there's going to be these stretches with this team. We've seen it in the past. You know, they have stretches where they hit the heck out of the ball and score a bunch of runs. Then they go through some stretches where they don't hit the ball at all. But my main concern is Bohm and Marsh. I mean, we saw Bohm go through this at the end of last year, and he did not handle it well. And when you get off like to a bad start like he's gotten, I'm sure it's affecting him. And somehow we got to get him out of that because he's a huge part of this offense.
No doubt.
Yeah, we got Tom Mellon, Mickey Morandini with us. So, Mickey, when you would get into a little cold snap or go through a slump, what did you do to try to pull yourself out of it? I mean, what would you say to Bohm or to Marsh to try to get things going in the right direction?
Yeah, I'm a different hitter than Alec is, so I would try and bunt for a hit, try and get an infield hit, use my speed a little bit, do something like that just to get me going. Even a jam shot blooper would get me going, just something. But my words to him would be just stay aggressive, and he'll come out of it. He's too good of a hitter not to come out of it, but just stay aggressive, and he's got to be positive.
I agree.
All right, we got Mickey Morandini, 93, National League champ with us, and an all-star in 1995. So thankful to have him hanging out at Team Toyota talking some Phillies baseball. I was asking Tom, Mickey, about the balance between the approach where a baseball season is kind of like a marathon, but then every game is also kind of like a sprint because you got to get the job done. I was saying these high-level marathon guys, it's amazing how fast they're running, even in those distant races. And that's kind of the same approach you need to have for a Major League Baseball season.
Yeah, it is a marathon. It's a long season. You know, you're playing 30 spring training games, 162 regular season games with really very few days off. It's a grind. But you can't look at the whole thing. As you said, you have to take one game at a time. And
absolutely.
You know, April is just as important as September.
Yeah.
You know, and these games mean something. They went down to Atlanta. They didn't play bad. They just didn't hit the baseball the last couple days. But those are big games. You got to win games within your division. It's a really tough division. The Mets are good. The Braves, even though they got off to a bad start, they're going to be good.
Yeah, they'll come back.
Washington's a much improved team. The Marlins are playing well, so it's a tough division. So all these games matter. The pitching's been good overall. I think our starting pitching's been good. Luzardo's been amazing, and Nola hasn't pitched bad, even though he's 0-3. So we just got to get this offense a little more consistent.
Very much so.
And like I said, they got to start playing a little bit more small ball, put the ball in play, and manufacture runs.
Yeah, we were talking about some of the stats with the pitchers, some impressive stat lines for their start. All right, let me put my dad hat on, and I want to ask you, Mick, to go back to when you were making your decision after high school. You ended up going to Indiana University. Also played for the USA team.
I did.
And I want to talk about some of that decision. My daughter is a senior in high school, making that transition to the college world. And I'm wondering what was part of your decision making. We also do a lot of high school athletics on WBCB, where maybe parents, kids are out there watching the show today, wondering about what the next step is going to be for them.
Right.
What kind of informed your decision? It seemed like it was the right move. You still hold a ton of records at Indiana University.
Yeah, it was.
Somehow I can't say Indiana University, but besides that,
you could say the home of Bobby Knight.
That's a long line there. Yeah, you're right.
I'm trying.
It was obviously a huge decision. I'd never been away from home, but I had a lot. I was a really good basketball player too, so I had a lot of Division II opportunities to play baseball and basketball. But I knew if I had a future, it was going to be in baseball.
I mean, would you have played for Bobby Knight? Potentially?
Absolutely not. Well, not that I wouldn't have played for him. I would have had no chance to play for him with my skill set is what I'm saying. I would have loved to play for Bobby Knight because, the yelling part and that stuff, that never bothered me. So I think one thing you have to look at if you're going to play college sports is, are you going to have the opportunity to play immediately? And at Indiana, they had a senior shortstop. So the first year he was there with me, but all they did was move me to third base. So I knew that. So I got to play my freshman year, and I think that's huge. And then he graduated, and then I moved back to my natural position at shortstop for the rest of my time there. So I think that's really big. Are you going to get the opportunity to play immediately? If you have a All-American shortstop that's a sophomore there, or a freshman.
That's tough.
You probably aren't going to get to play until maybe your sophomore, junior year. So I think that's a big part of it. You want to go somewhere where you're going to get a chance to play. And obviously the scholarship part of it played a huge role in too, because I grew up where we didn't have a lot of money. So the scholarship part was big too.
I mean, you had the option maybe to look at the draft too. So what was that decision like? Because that's a lot of players consider. You're going to have that degree forever, but to be able to get into the minor leagues is probably a faster path to get onto a major league field.
Sure, and that's why teams draft high school players so much now, is because they can develop them. They don't go to college and be developed by another organization. So, when I got to be a junior, I had the opportunity to try out for the Olympics.
What an experience.
It was amazing. But the tough decision was at the end of my junior year, the Pittsburgh Pirates drafted me, and I'm from Pittsburgh. So I grew up a Pirates fan. So I had to make the decision, do I want to try and make this team and go play for my country?
Yeah.
Or do I want to start my professional career with the team I grew up watching? It was a really tough decision, but you only get one chance to play for your country. And so I went back to I turned down the Pirates, went back to college, and made the Olympic team in 1988 and won a gold medal.
So
God bless you, man. Yeah. That's great.
I was checking out the USA team in '88, and in that year, baseball was a demonstration sport.
It was.
So did you get a gold medal?
I did.
Though?
It's still, yeah, you still get a gold medal. I just don't think it goes on the statistics as being a gold medal for the U.S., I think is how that works.
Well, then baseball did become like an official sport in '92, so you guys helping kind of ambassadors to make that happen.
Yeah, it was a trial sport in '84 when McGuire was on the team, and then '88 again, '92, I think it was, like you said, a legitimate sport, and then all of a sudden it went away. I don't know why it went away, because there were so many countries involved with playing baseball. I think a lot of it has to do with if you don't have the best players from every country, and U.S. we can't.
Yeah.
We have to play minor leaguers or college players. I think that's the reason they kind of did away with it. But it's back. It's going to be back in when it's in L.A. at 2026 or something, like 28 or something. So
the logistic things with Major League Baseball too. It's right in the middle of their season.
Right.
So
It
what
is,
they would
right.
have to do with that, have to juggle everything
Ain't
around.
happening.
They said, nah.
Thank God.
it's not happening. That's why they do the World Baseball Classic, I think, to get everybody together from all around the world.
And that's been great energy
Yeah.
and great competition. We got Mickey Morandini with us talking with Tom Mellon. It's the Baseball Insider Show on WBCB. We're going to step aside in just a little bit and return. I want to ask these guys about some of the changes to the game from when Mickey was playing. I'm even thinking like back to when the Cubs first got lights.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
That was
Wrigley Field.
88, I believe, 88 or 89, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, August 8th of 88.
88, yeah.
And their first game was supposed to be against the Phillies, but it got rained out.
Yep.
But, I mean, that's all the different rules changes and different things that are now in the world of baseball. I want to ask these guys if they say it's a net positive, if the baseball game is moving in the right direction.
Sure.
So we'll return to the Baseball Insider Show in just a little bit, presented by BCWSA. We're here live from Team Toyota. Great day to come on down and check it out, see their inventory, and maybe get yourself hooked up with a new car or a great pre-owned car.
We're here.
All right.
Absolutely.
And we'll be right back here on WBCB.
Hi,
Good to see you,
Paul
buddy.
Miller from Team
Yeah.
Toyota.
Haven't seen you in a while.
If you've been waiting to buy your next pre-owned vehicle due to surging used car prices, then we have some great news for you. With over 45 used cars under $20,000, we have something for every budget. Plus, with our MVP pricing guarantee, warranty forever, and free maintenance for 1 year, you can rest assured that you're getting a reliable used car at a great price. Visit us in Langhorne on Route 1 or shop online at teamlanghorne.com.
Energy costs are skyrocketing. Now is the time to upgrade your old heater and air conditioning systems to more efficient units to save on your utility bills. Harris Comfort can also handle all your propane needs, as well as providing sales and service on whole house generators. Harris Comfort is still family owned and has been serving our area for over 60 years, providing sales, service, installation, and peace of mind. Call 215-788-4596 or go to harriscomfort.com. Harris Comfort, still family and still local.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, to get all your essentials in one place, with the following businesses ready to serve you: Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Hair Cuttery, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, R&J Smoothies and Juices, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one stop for all your shopping needs at South Oxford Valley Road and South Olds Boulevard in Fairless Hills.
Hey BCWSA customers, this is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. My friends at BCWSA are committed to providing us with safe, reliable water and sewer services. They operate state-of-the-art treatment facilities, provide clean drinking water, and make much-needed investments to protect our environment and ensure a sustainable future. Learn how BCWSA's investments help grow and serve our communities. Visit bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
With over 7,200 square feet of 200 brewers in stock at all times, Pat Dion Beverages now features 5 different flavors of their favorite slushy cocktails. You can also purchase all your wine, liquor, and other fine spirits right next door. Visit us on Facebook or online at patdionbeverages.com for upcoming events and samples from your favorite brewery or local food vendor.
At the YMCA, finding your why starts by making an impact together, touching lives for the better. It can be the gift of time or treasure, supporting a community through talent without measure. Here, compassion fuels commitment, finding fulfillment through enrichment, serving and improving. What a way to live, and what a gift it is to give. Find your why and get involved today at ymca.org for a better us.
We now return to the Baseball Insider Show, presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazier, and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Green.
Yeah, sitting in for John Brazier, I'm Chris Ermer. Welcome back to the Baseball Insider Show, presented by BCWSA, doing our thing live from Team Toyota today, sitting alongside Tom Mellon, Mickey Morandini with us. And guys, want to talk about some of the changes to the game, but how about this past week in Phillies baseball? Was talking with Tom about the Grand Slam win they had on Sunday, Castellanos getting the Phillies past the Dodgers, and a John Brazier stat for you. That is the fourth series win against the Dodgers that the Phillies have been able to pull off. And they're the only team outside of the NL West to be able to pull that feat, defeat the Dodgers in as many consecutive series. I think they're 9-12 in their last bunch of games against LA, which is great. But if it comes down to playoff time, hopefully they'll be able to keep that trend going.
Quite an accomplishment.
Yeah.
That's great.
That is an accomplishment, but I mean, the Dodgers are good, and they're not afraid to spend money. They're deep in pitching staff, and they're deep in offense. I mean, I think their payroll is over $300 million, but they got some players on that team, so they will be a force to be reckoned with come playoff time.
And with all those players, that's why that Grand Slam felt still a little shaky, and I was glad the Phillies were able to get that game, went back and forth even after that big blast from Castellanos. Then on Monday, the Phillies able to get a day off. And as a former Major League player, Mickey, how valuable are those days off? Now the Phillies are in a run. I think they're playing like 16 in a row. Was there like a thing, a routine you did on your days off in order to get yourself like mentally situated or physically feeling better?
First off, you want off days when you're struggling. You don't want off days when things are going really well.
Yeah.
You really don't.
No.
And you want more off days later in the season. We never wanted April and May off days too much.
No.
Because you're still fresh. It's still early in the season. You want to be playing. Come late July, August, that's when you want your off days because you're mentally drained, you're physically drained, you probably have some ailments. But what I would do on off days is try and remove myself as much as possible from the game. Clear my head.
You need that every once in a
Get some
while.
rest.
Sure.
And just be a dad or be a husband. That's really what I try to do on my off days.
Take a little breather.
Yep.
All right, so Tuesday they get back to it, and it's a loss, 7-5, so we'll skip over that in true Baseball Insiders fashion, just stick to the positives. And on Wednesday, a bounce-back win, home run blast by Trey Turner, getting them the win 4-3.
Yeah.
Nothing has been easy for the Phillies in the early going. Like, all of these games have been
close.
nip and tuck, and I don't know, I think maybe that'll serve them as they go through the season. But
I mean, you're going to have a lot more close games than you are blowouts in baseball. There's no question about that. And you're really only as good as your next day's starting pitcher. And if he's good, then your team's going to have a chance to win. If he's bad, you're probably going to lose the ball game. But I think we're 8-5. I mean, we'll take that. I think if you told anybody the Phillies are going to go 8-5 in the first 13, I think most people would take that. If you think about the past, like 2020, 21, 22, we got off to some horrible starts and put ourselves in the hole. Last year was really one of the first years where we really got off to a good start. So hopefully this good start here will continue. And but like I said, you got to beat the teams in your division, and you got to win series. If you can win series, then you're going to go to the playoffs.
That's key.
Going back to that marathon and sprint thing, in '93, you guys got off to a great start and kind of went legendarily, went wire to wire, had the first spot in the division all throughout the year. Did that quick start kind of motivate you guys throughout the year to stay in front of everybody and kind of put some wind in the sails of that team?
Absolutely. I mean, everybody in probably around the country had us coming in last place because the year before we were awful.
Right.
Came in last place, didn't have a lot of wins. But we brought in some really good, solid players, Danny Jackson, Milt Thompson, Mariano Duncan, those types of guys. And we just clicked. Everything clicked. We got out to an 8-1 start. And all of a sudden, you start seeing the fans go from 20,000 to 30 to 40 to 50.
Started picking up real quick.
Exactly. And we were only out of first place one day that entire season, which was remarkable for a team that wasn't supposed to win anything. So, yeah, that start that we had was huge for us.
the pick-me-up was incredible too that year.
Yes.
Everyone was joined together. It was one family.
Absolutely.
You know, if there was any type of a weakness, it was picked up by 3 or 4 of the other guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was a total team effort. We knew how to play the game. We moved runners. Our pitchers, our starters, every starter had 12 wins that year. I don't know if you're ever going to see that again.
Wow.
And it was kind of a young starting rotation, too, right? Schilling was still a younger Major League Baseball player.
Yeah.
Tommy was young. Ben Rivera was young. The only veterans we had were Mal Holland and Danny Jackson.
Wow.
You know, we were talking about the 93 team at one of our previous BCB shows, and I started to think about Moneyball and the concepts that Billy Beane put into place in order to help the A's, and I never really got them into the postseason or never got them the results that they were looking for. But the 93 team had a lot of Moneyball aspects to it, where you guys had a lot of platooned players, and then the other part that was that Moneyball concept is seeing a lot of pitches and getting on base a lot. I forget, maybe it was like 4 different guys had 100 walks in 93.
Yeah, 4 guys had 100 walks. We had guys that could hit home runs, but I think our leading home run was Inky with maybe 24, which today is nothing, you know.
There's a throwback name.
Yeah, exactly. So we manufactured runs. We got people on base. We knew how to move runners. We hit and run a lot. We would squeeze occasionally.
Sure.
Things like that. A lot of things that you don't see in the game now.
Well, and some of that stuff you don't see in the game now. However you're generating runs, if you're getting wins, that's fine. But when it comes to the postseason, sometimes the approach has got to change, because when you're playing, when it's good on good, you have to manufacture runs some way. You got to work on that small ball throughout the year, just so when you get into those, higher leverage games, postseason games, you can do it.
Right. And you're usually playing in cold weather. If you're in the east or the northeast or even the Midwest, so the ball's not going to be carrying as much. You're probably going to be facing a pitching staff that's really good, because if they made the playoffs, you're probably going to have a really good pitching staff. So, yes, you have to manufacture runs, and that's been the problem the last 2 years for us. We haven't been able to manufacture those runs. We haven't been able to score, and that's cost us wins in the playoffs.
I mean, do you think the Phillies might have missed an opportunity in the offseason to tweak things, or are you comfortable like the way they're running it back? I mean, they have made some changes, Kepler, Luzardo, but they didn't make any major splash like the Juan Soto or some of the other teams that they're going to be competing with.
Well, I don't know if I would have brought Juan Soto in for $700 million. As good a player he is, we wouldn't have been able to do that with our payroll. But
it goes back to your comments about the Dodgers payroll.
Right.
At some point, if you want to be competitive, you got to bust out the wallet.
Yeah, I guess.
Good point, Chris.
I guess. But you also have to develop. One thing the Dodgers do very well also, they develop players through their system. You know, it's not all free agency and go out and spend as much money as you can. But the Phillies are, I don't know. We'll see how center field pans out. Right now, Marsh is struggling. Rojas, is Rojas. He's a good defensive player, but I don't know if he'll ever really hit. So we'll see if maybe they should have gone out and got another outfielder. A lot of people have concerns about the bullpen. Right. I think if they stay healthy, they'll be fine. But if they lose someone in that bullpen, Kirkering or someone goes down,
that's critical.
They don't have a lot of depth there.
All right, let's talk about changes to the game before we step aside here on the Baseball Insider Show. We got Mickey Morandini with us, Tom Mellon sitting alongside. We're live from Team Toyota today doing our Baseball Insiders thing. We got the Phillies and the Cardinals coming up on BCB with a 2:15 first pitch.
Oh, we're early today.
Yeah, Christopher Sanchez going to take the mound for the Phils, and he'll be up against Miles Mikolas for the Cardinals. So looking forward to that game. And, all right, changes to the game. One thing I just cannot get over, what do you think about the universal DH? I really appreciated the difference between the National League and the American League. This is like old news. This has been adjudicated, and I'm probably the only guy still shaking my fist at the fact that we don't have a straight 9 playing in the National League.
That's a good point.
Well, back in the day you had some pitchers that could hit.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where the kids in high school that can pitch don't hit anymore, and then they get to college, they don't hit anymore, and then all of a sudden they get to the professional baseball and they have to learn how to hit again. And it never really panned out. They didn't know how to bunt. I mean, it was really bad. It got to a point where pitchers couldn't even put the ball in play. They didn't know how to bunt. And I think it was destined for the National League to. But I'm with you. I think it puts more pressure on the manager to manage a game.
Sure, it does.
And it makes a manager make a lot more decisions early. But I just think it got old to seeing a pitcher go up there and have no chance of getting on base.
And I think your point that that's the only level of baseball where there was no DH did make it a little bit weird and difficult for pitchers to kind of figure things out. But I still wish they would go back to that and appreciated the difference between the National League and the American League. And
but it did give the American League a huge advantage.
Big time.
You know, when you played interleague or in the World Series with that extra bat. Now, obviously, if you had a DH in a game, the National League could use a DH. But the American League had a huge advantage with that DH.
You know, one thing I think is better today than back in the day, the venues.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Vet. That was not a great place to see baseball.
Oh, my God.
And there
Take
were
your
some
life in your hands in certain areas.
Well,
there.
supposedly, like where you guys were, there were like rodents and stray cats and stuff like that. I don't know if you ever ran into any.
Some cats for sure.
Cats ate the rats.
Maybe a few mice back in the batting cage down the tunnel, but.
I mean, Citizens Bank Park is like so nice.
Yeah, obviously it's like night and day with the bank and the Vet, but I like the Vet. It's conducive to my game because I hit a lot of ground balls and line drives, and the turf was perfect for me.
Sure.
But it did take a toll on your body. But yeah, there's so many great venues now. It's really nice because they protect the fans now with the netting. I know when those first went up, the fans weren't too happy about it. But I'm telling you, it has protected and saved a lot of people from getting hurt with those foul ball line drives.
And I don't think it obscures the vision like people were concerned about, too. So.
Right. I think the only issue maybe is autograph-wise. Sometimes you can't get autographs because, you can't put a baseball through that screen or a program or something like that. But for the most part, I think, the parks are incredible. They're getting nicer and nicer, and the food's better. You get to do things. We have the wiffle ball area now and a bunch of things. So
that makes a big statement there.
It does. I mean, all the kids just flock to that and play wiffle ball for 9 innings. It's great.
And then you mentioned about autographs and everything. You got to look at the fans. I mean, whether it was the Vet or if it was the new park now, that's like having the 10th player out there. Always has been.
And with the Vet, we had to go up a tunnel to get to our parking lot, which means we had to go through some fans. So
sure.
You almost had to sign, or or the Philly fans would, yell out some things at you that you didn't like. Nowadays, they have their own parking area. We don't have to go through the fans. But I think they're as generous today with autographs as we were back in the day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have some fans out here that are watching.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hi guys.
My 2 grandkids, they're sluggers.
All right.
Yeah. One of these days, they'll be.
Where's your Phillies gear though?
Huh?
What does everybody think about the pitch clock?
Oh, the pitch clock is tough, boy. But it keeps the game going.
You know what? I was not a fan of it at first either.
Right.
But it does. It keeps the game going. Really, nobody wants to sit through a 4-hour game anymore.
My God, no.
And it does. It does speed up the game. So I've learned to appreciate it. That's really probably one of the only things that has changed in the game that I do like.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's some changes that I just don't get.
Right. All right. How about the ghost runner in extra innings? As a traditionalist, I'm like, ugh. But as a baseball fan, I love the action, and I love that in extra innings, stuff happens right away, and you're going to get to a result. So although that was one of the ones where I was cringing, and I think it was like COVID-related at one time, and now it's kind of a holdover from that time, and maybe it will evaporate sometime soon. But I like the action in the extra innings.
Yeah, they did it because they didn't want you to wear out your bullpen in one game. You play the 20-inning game, your bullpen is completely wiped out.
That's where you got position players out there.
Exactly. So, and it's working. Rarely do you see a game go past 11 innings now, to be honest with you. So it is working. It's what they intended it for it to do, is to shorten the game up in extra innings, get a quick result. and where you didn't have to use that bullpen. And like you said, bring in the second baseman to throw inning 20, which is not what baseball's about.
No, you're right. The strategy changed when you're putting somebody on second base in that 10th inning.
Yep.
The infield's coming up. They're moving back. The strategy of the game has changed incredibly over the years.
Well, another thing that's changed in the game is walk-up music. So when we come back, I want to ask Tom and Mickey what their walk-up songs would be, because I think when you were playing, it was like a little bit before everybody had their own individual.
Yeah, I think that started in '94. I think is when we started doing walk-up music. I don't know who the first team was that actually started that, but
that's a good question.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're coming back to the Baseball Insiders at Team Toyota. We're live here today. It's presented by BCWSA. And before we step aside, consider a career at SEPTA. SEPTA hiring a variety of skilled trade positions, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, millwrights, and more. As a SEPTA employee, you'll earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org. Yeah, years ago, I was in the sales and leasing world for Toyota.
Okay.
At Lawrence Toyota, which is in the family with Team.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I left a promising career in sales to be here at WBCB.
You're in the right place right
now.
So
I now live at 200 Magnolia Drive, thanks to my poor life choices. I'm happy to be here today with Mickey Morandini talking about the Phillies. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Great.
Hi, Paul Muller from Team Toyota of Langhorne. If you've been waiting to buy your next pre-owned vehicle due to surging used car prices, then we have some great news for you. With over 45 used cars under $20,000, we have something for every budget. Plus, with our MVP pricing guarantee, warranty forever, and free maintenance for 1 year, you can rest assured that you're getting a reliable used car at a great price. Visit us in Langhorne on Route 1 or shop online at teamlanghorne.com.
Energy costs are skyrocketing. Now is the time to upgrade your old heater and air conditioning systems to more efficient units to save on your utility bills. Harris Comfort can also handle all your propane needs, as well as providing sales and service on whole house generators. Harris Comfort is still family owned and has been serving our area for over 60 years, providing sales, service, installation, and peace of mind. Call 215-788-4596 or go to harriscomfort.com. Harris Comfort, still family and still local.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, to get all your essentials in one place, with the following businesses ready to serve you: Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Hair Cuttery, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, R&J Smoothies and Juices, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one stop for all your shopping needs at South Oxford Valley Road and South Olds Boulevard in Fairless Hills.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. Every champion needs a good game plan. BCWSA and I want to make sure you have a game plan when it comes to conserving our most precious resource, water. Whether you're washing dishes, brushing your teeth, or watering your garden, there are ways you can save water and save money. Visit bcwsa.net for tips on conserving water. BCWSA, proven.
With over 7,200 square feet of 200 brewers in stock at all times, Pat Dion Beverages now features 5 different flavors of their favorite slushy cocktails. You can also purchase all your wine, liquor, and other fine spirits right next door. Visit us on Facebook or online at patdionbeverages.com for upcoming events and samples from your favorite brewery or local food vendor.
Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1957, WBCB can help your business grow. If you want to gain more exposure locally, contact us at 215-949-3232. That's 215-949-3232. Or contact Matt at WBCB1490.com. That's Matt at WBCB1490.com. WBCB Radio. Here today, here yesterday, and here tomorrow. Now on 107.3 FM as well as 1490 AM.
we now return to the Baseball Insider Show, presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games, John Brazier, and former pitcher from the 93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Green.
All right, sitting in for John Brazier today, I'm Chris Ermer, and in for Tommy Green, Mickey Morandini with us. It's the Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA, live from Team Toyota. Tom Mellon joining us. All right, so your walk-up music, guys. What was your song?
Mine was "This Is How We Do It" by Montel Jordan.
It's a great song.
It is a great
song.
This
Now,
is how we do it.
If I ever elevated to that level, it would have to be the Rockies.
Oh, that would be a good one.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I'll go with Right Said Fred. I'm too sexy. I'll do my little turn on the catwalk as I go up there with my baseball bat.
That's good stuff.
But that is something new with baseball.
Yeah,
the
the
game
music.
day presentation, the walk-up music, and all that stuff.
They're
And
doing it with the Little League kids now.
yeah,
sure.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
Nicholas and Brady, my two grandkids, they get up, coming up to the plate, and they're playing music for them. They have their own theme music.
All right, maybe during the break we can find out Nicholas and Brady's walk-up music.
We'll ask them. Yeah.
All right, Baseball Insider Show here on WBCB. One of the other things that is a little different in the game today, the stats and the analytics and the numbers. And it's coming up here. We have our stat of the week brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. But before we get to our official stat of the week, I got a couple of John Brazier stats to throw out there. All right. How about this one? Phillies just played the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani, amazing slugger, also an amazing pitcher for the Dodgers. Incredible. And the only guy in baseball history that is a similar figure is the Babe Ruth, who pitched and hit way back when.
He did.
And how about these numbers? They're so similar. Shohei has 160 home runs and is 35-19 on the mound in his first 455 innings of baseball. Oh. So pretty impressive numbers.
That's great.
Babe Ruth in his first 455 innings of baseball, also 159 homers, so just one less homer, but the same pitching numbers, 35 and 19.
Wow, that's
so,
incredible.
Shohei is doing stuff that has only been done by Babe Ruth. Do you think he's going to get back on the mound, and what do you expect? If you were a Dodgers front office guy, would you want Shohei Ohtani to take the mound again, potentially risking more elbow issues? He's had, I think, now 2 Tommy Johns.
That's a good question.
Wow.
I mean, he's so good on the mound. I would say, I would probably throw him as long as he's getting a clean bill of health and there's no issues at all. Because he could always, if he did hurt his arm again, he would still be able to hit probably at some point.
I think last time he did hurt himself, they put him in at DH. I mean, there was a time where he wasn't able to play, but as soon as he was able to swing the bat, he still couldn't throw, but still a valuable asset.
Right. So, I wouldn't throw him out there every 4 days, but I would definitely utilize him as a pitcher for sure.
He's a threat, isn't he?
Oh, he's unbelievable.
Wow.
One of the other changes to the game, the number of strikeouts now that players amass, a little bit different. Maybe the number of strikeouts that players tolerate and that teams will tolerate.
Right.
And Tony Gwynn, amazing hitter. And to compare anybody to Tony Gwynn is a little unfair.
The numbers are not going to be pretty for the rest of the league.
But Tony Gwynn had 15 strikeouts over 585 plate appearances at one point in his career.
So he's connecting every
That-
time
Yeah,
he's
he
at
puts
the
the ball in
plate.
play.
That is amazing.
Absolutely.
And for the Red Sox in 2025, Rafael Devers had 15 strikeouts in 19 plate appearances.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
Some of that is the approach from the hitters.
everything is the approach from the hitters.
Uppercut swings.
It's all analytic stuff. It's and I can understand it with your power hitters, your Schwarbers, your Judges, those guys. You don't want them hitting the ball on the ground. They can hit the ball in the ballpark. But I don't get it with a lot of like Trey Turner should not be swinging up on the ball.
No.
Because he's the fastest guy on the team. He could probably have 20 bunt hits and 20 infield hits alone just because of his speed. So certain type hitters, are not conducive to that analytics type swing. But it is all about the uppercut. It's about the launch angle, and it's about velocity, off the bat. And I do a lot of lessons, and I ask a lot of kids, I say, would you rather hit a bloop single or a line drive out to the second baseman? And I bet 95% of those kids say, I'd rather hit a line drive out to the second baseman. I'm like, isn't the idea of baseball is to get on base?
Get on base.
I'll take 100 bloop hits a year over 100 line drives to the second baseman for an out. So
good point.
I think kids are get too involved in the velocity off the bat and the launch angle stuff.
All right, here's the official one. Our Smart Stat of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today, 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY for Payroll Service Solutions. Every year, different stats come into prominence. Over the offseason, the Phillies were talking quite a bit about cutting down their chase rate. So I looked up what is the Phillies' chase rate for this year. So far, so good. Over the first 3 series, the Phillies have one of the lowest chase rates in all of baseball. At one point, they were at 24.3%. And this is when you're going after balls that are outside the strike zone. And that's a pretty decent number. You compare that to where they were in, I think last year it was like 31%. Okay. The year before that, they were like at 33%, where they were chasing balls outside of the strike zone. So they've done a little bit better over the first few series. But, man, that is something you just need to keep on game in and game out. And it seems like in 93, that was a big part of the team concept you guys had. Don't chase. If the pitch isn't there, take it.
Yes, we made pitchers throw strikes, and that's how you are successful as a hitter. You swing at balls in the zone.
Exactly.
And pitchers know if you're a guy that chases, like Nick Castellanos chases a lot of pitches, they're going to throw the ball out of the zone on purpose because he's going to swing at him.
Right.
There are very few bad ball hitters. Vladimir Guerrero was one of them. He could hit a ball that bounced and get a base hit.
I think Junior also has a reputation for being able to hit balls out of the zone.
But there's not a lot of guys that can do that and be successful in the big leagues. So, yeah, it's promising that they're at 24%. Let's take a look at that number maybe at the end of May and see where we're at.
See where we are.
Yeah, a little bit of a small sample size, but so far so good.
That's an interesting point that you're bringing up, too.
Keep that up. So as I'm looking at chase rate, that sent me down a whole rabbit hole of swing percentage. And they have a stat for your O swing percentage. That swings for balls that are outside the zone, your Z swing percentage for balls that are inside the zone, your O contact percentage,
too much,
your Z contact percentage. You can really get overwhelmed by the numbers.
Absolutely.
But it's kind of pretty neat to be able to break down all of that stuff how they can now. It's like the computers and the models that are out there. I think maybe in the 90s it was impossible to generate this type of information.
Yeah, we just had on-base percentage.
That's it.
And your batting average, I think, was the main thing. You wanted to have a good batting average, and your on-base percentage was really the most important thing. How often are you getting on base?
That's true. How about this one? I don't know if you brought this up, or it may be in your notes. My wife and I, we watch every Phillies game together. And we looked at the stat, and I went, my God. Stealing second base, professional catchers, who's at the top?
Of throwing guys out?
Of actually stealing the base.
Oh.
The catcher's on base. And
all time?
No, this year.
Oh, I would think JT's got to be up there.
He's up there.
Yeah.
He's got like 59. Well, he has 59 steals. That might have been from last year because obviously he doesn't have 59 steals now. But there's no one even close to him.
Right.
It's
well,
incredible.
Normally your catchers aren't speedsters.
No, they're not.
I remember Craig Biggio was a catcher that was fast, but they very quickly moved him to second base.
Right. All right, well, that's our Smart Stat of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Again, call them today, 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY, the smart choice in Payroll Service Solutions. All right, we thank them for bringing that segment. I got even more stats, too. How about 8 and 5? That's an important stat,
That's
right?
A great
stat. It is.
The win-loss number.
It is an important stat. It's important in April. And if you're not winning games in April, you're just putting yourself a lot of pressure to win games later in the season. So the Phillies did a tremendous job last year. They got off to a really good start. They continued it in May and June. They had a horrible second half, but you know what? They still came in first place because of their start.
Let's talk a little bit about team leadership on this bunch. I just love to feel the vibe, see the interaction between Harper and Schwarber. I think there's kind of something special there, and it's led to the success that they've had over the last couple of years. I don't know if there's players on the 93 team that you would compare them to. I was even going to ask you to put yourself on the scale where you would risk on the wild scale between, like, Lenny Dykstra being at the top and Kevin Stocker being at the bottom, where Mickey Morandini might rank in that.
I'd be right above Kevin. I would be right above Kevin. But, yeah, Lenny would probably be at the top, and Mitch would be up there just as crazy. And Larry Anderson was kind of crazy back in the – just funny, funny stuff.
Sure.
But we did. We had a lot of fun. But this team, when you watch them, and I think why so many fans love this team is they look like they're having so much fun and they're getting along so well. And that's really important for a team. But also, you have good chemistry when you're winning. Rarely do you see a team that's awful and they say, but we have good chemistry. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so winning breeds good chemistry.
Sure
but
does.
I think Kyle Schwarber is the leader in that clubhouse. He's been compared to Darren Dalton on our team. Where,
he was the guy.
Right.
He was the man.
You need good leadership. You need to keep those things that happen on the field that aren't so good away from the manager. Keep it in the clubhouse with the players. Let the players handle it. If it becomes bigger than that, then it goes to the manager. But that's how we handled it. Everything went through Darren when we played.
He was the enforcer.
He was.
I feel like, Schwarber and Harper, they do have kind of having fun out there. On the pitching side, Wheeler and Nola, seasoned Major League Baseball pitchers, and they are all business. And I got to imagine that also is paying dividends when it comes to the rotation, guys like Christopher Sanchez and even Suarez.
Yeah.
But, I mean, those guys have a very different approach. It doesn't look like they're having a lot of fun, but they're getting the job done. And I guess that's a certain type of fun in itself.
Yeah, I think as a pitcher – the key is not to show a lot of emotion out there, and I think Wheeler has come in here and really taught these guys. I did it when I went to spring training. Aaron Nola came over with the sponsors, and they did a little Q&A with him, and he said he has learned so much from Wheeler, just about preparation and things on the mound, and I think Wheeler is probably a top 3 pitcher in all of baseball. I mean, he's been very consistent.
Yeah.
He hasn't lost velocity. He keeps himself in shape. He keeps you in the ball game every time out. But I think, those two guys have really taught, Suarez and Sanchez and those guys a lot about how to be a starting pitcher.
Their focus is incredible, too.
Oh, yeah, they're so dialed in.
Yeah, they really are.
Like for Wheeler, talking about his approach, like he looks like a statue on Easter Island. Like there's no emotion there, and whether it's he's having a good outing or a bad outing, he's dialed in, and as you said, Tom, focused in.
Yep.
The one thing you've noticed on the Phillies staff is, and not every staff has this, is they have command of their pitches. It's not like all our guys throw 100 miles an hour, but they all can throw a fastball and command the fastball.
Yes, they can. Yeah.
Suarez is great at it. Sanchez is really good at it. Nola's good at it. And as hard as Wheeler throws, he really can command the baseball. And that's probably why our starting staff is one of the best in baseball.
Well, Phillies got to keep it going, looking for a big bounce back today. They take on the Cardinals at 2:15. Got the game for you on WBCB, and we're coming right back to Team Toyota. We're live for the Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. We got to find out the walk-up music of these guys.
Oh, yeah.
Bring them over,
All right, we'll be right back.
Hi, Paul Muller from Team Toyota of Langhorne. If you've been waiting to buy your next pre-owned vehicle due to surging used car prices, then we have some great news for you. With over 45 used cars under $20,000, we have something for every budget. Plus, with our MVP pricing guarantee, warranty forever, and free maintenance for 1 year, you can rest assured that you're getting a reliable used car at a great price. Visit us in Langhorne on Route 1 or shop online at teamlanghorne.com.
Energy costs are skyrocketing. Now's the time to upgrade your old heater and air conditioning systems to more efficient units to save on your utility bills. Harris Comfort can also handle all your propane needs, as well as providing sales and service on whole house generators. Harris Comfort is still family owned and has been serving our area for over 60 years, providing sales, service, installation, and peace of mind. Call 215-788-4596 or go to harriscomfort.com. Harris Comfort, still family and still local.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, to get all your essentials in one place, with the following businesses ready to serve you: Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Hair Cuttery, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, R&J Smoothies and Juices, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one stop for all your shopping needs at South Oxford Valley Road and South Olds Boulevard in Fairless Hills.
Hey BCWSA customers, this is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. My friends at BCWSA are committed to providing us with safe, reliable water and sewer services. They operate state-of-the-art treatment facilities, provide clean drinking water, and make much-needed investments to protect our environment and ensure a sustainable future. Learn how BCWSA's investments help grow and serve our communities. Visit bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
We now return to the Baseball Insider Show, presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games, John Brazier, and former pitcher from the 93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Green.
All right, in for John Brazier, I'm Chris Ermer with Tom Mellon and Mickey Morandini talking Phillies baseball on BCB. It's the Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. All right, so Tom, one of your was it your grandkids?
My two grandkids there, Brady and Nicholas,
Right.
and Brielle. Obviously, she's stepping up down the road.
So, which one that we got their walk-up music?
Right.
Who walks up to "TV Off" by Kendrick Lamar?
Wow. Yeah, right over there. There's Brady right
Brady.
there. Brady.
All right.
Brady's the man.
And then who walks up to "All I Do Is Win"?
Nicholas raising his hand there. There he is, Nicky boy. They're both very competitive.
He's not named after Tom Brady, is he?
No.
Okay.
No, we won't allow that in the household. We won't allow that in the household, that's for sure. But they are extremely competitive. If you want to know anything about stats, they'll give them to you.
Awesome.
I mean, they make comments about ERA, their earned run average for the pitchers and everything.
They're going to grow up to be analytics people, aren't they?
They're spot on. They're spot on. They really are. Really proud of them.
Well, now that's like a professional. I mean, you can find some job opportunities in the analytics departments and the stat departments of
absolutely
professional sports teams. That's for sure.
These guys are looking to swing the bat, though, someday.
There you go.
Who knows?
You never know.
That's right.
All right, we are just about wrapping it up. Before we go, I want to let you know that today's show brought to you by SEPTA. And SEPTA relies on bus operators, train engineers, conductors, and consider a career at SEPTA. As a SEPTA employee, you'll earn competitive compensation, great benefits including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org. All right, this one made me feel a little bit old. We were talking about all the changes to the game. The oldest player now on the Phillies is Wheeler, and he was born in 1990. No current Phillies were born in the 1980s.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he's the oldest.
Bunch of youngsters
What
out
is that,
there.
34?
I don't know.
Yeah, going to be 35. Going to be 35.
Yes. Wow. I guess that makes sense. Because,
Yeah, that was my first year in the big leagues, September of 90.
September of 90.
Yeah.
Man, that's good stuff, man.
Mickey, what did you think about shaking up the lineup a little bit? They moved Bomer down. Didn't really result in a lot of positive stuff last night, but I don't know. Is that something that will motivate a guy?
See, here's my thing about one, I think they need to keep Schwarber in the 4 spot. Because I just saw a stat last night. When he got his first single in the first at bat, I think it was, he's like 7 for 12 in the 4 spot. Everybody else was 2 for 38.
Oh, my God. In the 4 spot.
In the 4 spot. So my thing with shuffling the order is Okay, we put Bohm 7th. Well, what if he comes up his first at bat with the bases loaded? I mean, that's a pressure situation.
Sure
So
is.
what's the difference if he's hitting in the 5 spot or he's hitting in the 7 spot? So I'm not a big component. Like, that's really going to make much of a difference. I don't care where you hit in the lineup. You still have you're still going to come up in pressure situations.
Of course you are, yeah.
I guess the philosophy is if we hit him, lower in the lineup, he's not going to come up in pressure situations. But it doesn't work that way.
I mean, did you care where you hit in the lineup? I mean,
I like to hit top of the line. I like to hit behind Lenny because Lenny was always on base, which means I'm going to get a lot of fastballs.
Sure.
So he doesn't, because he could steal a base.
Steal a base.
And
yeah.
I'm left-handed, so I could hit that hole
Crack
if
that
they're
ball.
holding them on, things like that. Plus, I got an extra at bat usually.
Yeah.
Guys
Yeah.
at the top of the order usually get 5 at bats. Guys at the bottom of the order usually get 4. So, I like to hit the top of the order, but I don't think moving me around is going to change my mindset.
Your focus,
Yeah.
yeah, not at
what do you
all.
think today, guys? How about prediction on the game? Phillies looking to bounce back. Christopher Sanchez on the mound. Any players you see standing out, or how you see this one playing out here?
Well, I believe that pitcher, Mikolas, or however you say his name, is right-handed, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to have a
Yes.
left-handed lineup. I mean, I'm looking for Harper and Schwarber to do some damage today, but we need to get Bohm and Marsh going. That really lengthens that lineup up when those two are hitting the
Absolutely.
baseball. So I look for Sanchez to pitch really well today. He struggled a little bit early with his command a little bit. I think he's going to be spot on today.
Yeah, and I'll echo his comment, Mickey's comment on that, and his point about you got Schwarber and you got Harper. They're going to come true right now because the wood has to meet the ball today. It really does.
It does.
The wood has to meet the ball. That's the key thing right now.
Talking about the wood meeting the ball.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this whole thing up and let you go, how about these torpedo bats? I mean, I guess that's been talked about quite a bit, but would you be a torpedo batsman, or are you like a traditional
I don't
stick?
even, I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't paid much attention to it. The first I heard of it was opening day when the Yankees hit all those home runs.
Yeah.
It seems like it's quieted down a
It
little
did
bit.
quiet
But I don't know if I'd use it. I'd have to pick one up and take a swing and hit it in batting practice and
Try
see
it
how
out.
it felt. But it does help the guys that tend to hit get jammed a little bit because the head of the bat's farther down on the bat. So
Right.
I did get jammed a little bit. So
Did
maybe that's something I would use. I don't know.
Might have been a thing.
Might have been a thing. That's
Yeah.
right. I used a big U1 once. Now, I don't know if anybody knows what a U1 is, but it's this really big barreled bat with a big, thick handle. So
Wow.
the barrel on it was a lot bigger and thicker, and I was hitting the ball in the air too much. So they made me go to this U1. I choked up like
Much more?
5 inches and
Wow.
just tried to slap with this big bat.
Right.
And it actually really worked really well to the point where I was hitting a lot of ground balls and line drives, and I was able to go back to my original bat, and I really took off after
Interesting.
that. Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, well, grab your torpedo bats and dust off your rosin bag because we got Phillies baseball coming up here on WBCB. Big thanks to Mickey Morandini and Tom Mellon for sitting in for today's Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Thanks to Mike Warren, our video engineer. Stephen Lawler back at our WBCB studios. Again, coming up, the Phillies and the Cardinals pregame with a first pitch at 2:15. And as Harry the K says,
Out of here.
we are out of here.
You're listening to 1490 WBCB and on your FM dial at 107.3 W297CL Levittown.